This man just uploaded the clearest images of the Black Knight satellite. He detailed that it briefly showed up at the International Space Station, and then, immediately after it appeared on screen, the cameras were turned off. The International Space Station orbits high above the Earth, but it has occasionally become a backdrop for a perplexing phenomenon: the apparent shutdown of cameras during mysterious sightings. The man who uploaded the photograph said that he often monitors the live feed from the International Space Station's cameras. He detailed that he has developed an interest in space exploration and the mysteries that lay beyond Earth's atmosphere. As he watched the International Space Station orbiting high above the planet, a flicker of movement caught his attention. It was a faint, enigmatic shape, a fleeting shadow against the backdrop of stars. As he took a closer look, he said that the shape grew more distinct, taking on an unmistakable form: a satellite, but not just any satellite. He said that it reminded him of the legendary Black Knight satellite, a mysterious object rumored to have been orbiting Earth for centuries. He quickly reached for his phone, snapping a quick picture of the screen. He knew that such moments were fleeting, and he wanted to capture this extraordinary encounter. The satellite's silhouette was stark against the inky expanse of space, a dark enigma against the backdrop of stars. He shared the image on social media, inviting others to witness the anomaly for themselves. Interestingly, many people are calling this the clearest photograph of the Black Knight satellite. For those unaware, the origin of the Black Knight satellite remains shrouded in uncertainty, with no definitive explanation for its inception. However, the idea is quite straightforward. An unidentified object has purportedly been circling the Earth for thousands of years. According to some, the mysterious object has allegedly been in Earth's orbit for over 13,000 years. The claim made was quite bold, but it was just the most recent development in a long-standing theory that originates from as early as 1973. This theory has gained significant attention and has undergone various shifts and updates over the years. The premise suggests that a spacecraft from an advanced civilization has been circling Earth since ancient times, specifically the Stone Age. There is a faction of individuals who firmly believe that NASA and governments around the world have actively worked together to conceal this fact from the public. However, it is worth noting that experts counter these claims by asserting that the alleged spacecraft sightings and encounters can be attributed to misinterpretations of space debris and radio signals. The Black Knight satellite, believed to exist by its proponents, can trace its evidence back to the 19th century. During this time, the renowned scientist Nicola Tesla experienced a series of peculiar radio transmissions at his laboratory in Colorado Springs. These transmissions have been connected to the mysterious satellite. Moreover, the evidence for the Black Knight satellite extends all the way to a perplexing NASA photograph taken in 1998, which captured an enigmatic object orbiting in space. This comprehensive and in-depth exploration enriches our understanding of the Black Knight satellite phenomenon, delving into its historical origins and intriguing photographic documentation. The existence of the Black Knight satellite is supported by a combination of various individual occurrences spanning across history, which researchers and theorists have compiled and analyzed over the course of the last century. These numerous events have been meticulously collected, studied, and pieced together to form a compelling body of evidence that sheds light on this mysterious object. Throughout history, numerous theories and ideas have been retroactively introduced, such as the intriguing proposition that the renowned physicist Nicola Tesla inadvertently stumbled upon mysterious signals emanating from an unknown entity back in 1899. When Nicola Tesla was conducting his experiments in his laboratory in Colorado, he successfully developed a remarkably sensitive wireless radio receiver. During his experimentation, he was astonished to receive a sequence of inexplicable electrical signals. Tesla was captivated by the idea that these signals were not random occurrences, but rather a deliberate form of communication. In fact, he interpreted these mysterious signals as numerical codes, leading him to believe that they originated from highly intelligent beings residing on the planet Mars. Black Knight enthusiasts firmly believe that the assertions made by the individual in question were erroneous. According to their perspective, The signals he intercepted were actually the initial endeavor by advanced beings present on the satellite to establish communication with human beings residing on Earth. In 1927, a significant development occurred that was seen as further proof by believers in the field. Jørgen Hals, a Norwegian engineer, made a surprising discovery during his experiments on radio transmission. While conducting these experiments, Hals noticed something extraordinary, a series of signal echoes that inexplicably returned 3 seconds after he had completed his transmission. These peculiar phenomena, known as long-delayed echoes, have been consistently observed since then. Yet their occurrence remains a mystery without a complete explanation. This event in 1927 marked a crucial moment for those who held the belief in this phenomena. In 1954, Donald Keyhoe, a notable researcher into the unknown, made a claim that was subsequently published by the New York Times. According to Keyhoe, a source from the Pentagon had confirmed the existence of 2 natural satellites in orbit around the Earth. In response to this claim, the Army Office of Ordnance Research had formed a team of astronomers to investigate the presence of any near-Earth satellites. However, the project leaders denied having discovered any such satellites, contradicting Keyhoe's assertion. This incident ignited a significant intrigue and debate within the scientific community and the public regarding the existence of these alleged natural satellites. Those who researched this topic viewed the publication and subsequent denial of the 1954 article not only as proof of the existence of the Black Knight satellite, but also as evidence of the government trying to conceal it. The introduction of actual satellites by Russia in 1957 and the United States in 1958 further complicated the situation, creating more confusion and uncertainty surrounding the matter. During an event that took place on February 11, 1960, the US Navy detected a peculiar and unidentifiable object on their radar. At that time, the Department of Defense claimed that this mysterious object was nothing more than space debris originating from an Air Force Discoverer satellite. However, declassified documents from the Pentagon have since revealed the truth. The Defense Department deliberately deceived the public by falsely attributing the object to space debris. In reality, this enigmatic object was an American reconnaissance satellite that had been launched specifically for the purpose of gathering intelligence on Russia. In 1973, an intriguing theory emerged from the mind of Duncan Lunan, a renowned science fiction writer. This theory brought together all the previously mentioned events, giving rise to a captivating narrative. In an interview with Spaceflight magazine, Lunan made a fascinating assertion that an unidentified object in space that has been in orbit around Earth for 13,000 years was the reason behind the peculiar sightings and signals. He went a step further to state that he had successfully deciphered these signals as a message, revealing that they were actually instructions from an advanced civilization. Lunan eventually retracted his extravagant assertion and assertively expressed his complete disinterest in engaging with the unfounded notion of the Black Knight satellite. NASA has provided a thorough and detailed explanation regarding the photo in question. Apparently, during the construction phase of the International Space Station, NASA dispatched the inaugural Space Shuttle mission to assist with the ongoing development and assembly process. This comprehensive explanation sheds light on the circumstances surrounding the photo and helps us understand the purpose and significance of the mission in contributing to the construction of the space station. The Space Shuttle carried various equipment, including 4 thermal blanket covers that were intended to provide insulation for the station's trunnion pins. However, during a spacewalk, one of these blankets became detached and drifted away. This incident raised concerns regarding the potential impact on the station's overall thermal regulation system and the stability of the trunnion pins. So, as of right now, there's many who say that the Black Knight is genuine, but note that it's just a piece of space debris. However, there's others who don't believe in this theory. Unidentified objects, if piloted by advanced civilizations, could possess insatiable scientific curiosity about human achievements and space exploration. The International Space Station represents a pinnacle of human engineering and international cooperation, offering insights into our technological advancements, methods of life support, and sustainable living in the harsh environment of space. Advanced beings might observe the space station to understand our capabilities and approaches to overcoming the challenges of long-duration space missions. The International Space Station serves as a microcosm of human society, with astronauts from different countries living and working together in a confined space. Unidentified objects might be interested in observing human interactions, psychology, and how individuals adapt to the challenges of isolation and the constraints of a space environment. These observations could provide insights into the dynamics of human behavior and cooperation on a cosmic scale. From a more speculative perspective, these objects might be engaged in strategic reconnaissance, monitoring human activities in space for reasons unknown to us. They could be gauging our technological capabilities, tracking the evolution of our space exploration programs, or assessing potential threats arising from our ventures beyond Earth's atmosphere. The space station, being a prominent space outpost, could attract their attention as a focal point of human space endeavors. Recently, an image of a large spherical object passing in front of the Sun has been shared around social media, and some who have seen it believe that it represents an unidentified object. The recent object's appearance in our solar system has raised concerns among enthusiasts who speculate that it could be a rogue planet or a massive spaceship. Interestingly, those who study the unknown have said that this is a relatively common occurrence. Reports of strange anomalies near the Sun often involve objects that appear to be spherical, disc-shaped, or even elongated. These objects are often described as having a metallic or reflective appearance and are observed in the vicinity of solar flares or other solar activities. Some witnesses have reported seeing these objects enter or exit the Sun's surface, while others claim they are simply hovering or moving in close proximity to it. Those who measured the object said that it was massive, and noted that it only appeared on screen for a matter of seconds. Although it is not known who originally uploaded the image, it's reported that they quickly took a screenshot before the strange object vanished. The phenomenon of unidentified objects has fascinated and intrigued people for decades. While most sightings occur within Earth's atmosphere, there have been numerous reports being observed in outer space. These alleged sightings have raised questions about the existence of advanced life and the possibility of advanced civilizations beyond our planet. However, NASA said that the blue sphere that appears in some images captured by NASA's spacecraft is not an actual physical object, but rather an unintended result of a peculiar effect in the camera's mechanism. As the camera observes the Sun's surface and transmits its images to Earth, the blue sphere emerges as an unexpected outcome of the camera's operation. NASA has explained that the sensor responsible for processing images before dissemination can occasionally become overwhelmed, distorting the images and misrepresenting things that do not exist. Consequently, the purported blue sphere that enthusiasts were intrigued by does not exist, which implies that the actuality is less fascinating than anticipated. According to NASA's website, there are times when the image processor on board the spacecraft becomes overloaded and generates distorted images. Typically, these images appear as though they are from a different telescope rather than the one they were taken with. NASA said that occasionally, the heliospheric imager telescopes capture double exposures in their images, where multiple telescope data are combined due to the method of creating the images by adding up numerous exposures. It seems that the image displays two photos of the Sun blending together. Although NASA said that this explains these types of sightings, some theorists speculate that objects seen near the Sun could be evidence of advanced technology. According to this perspective, these objects could be spacecraft or probes sent by an advanced civilization to harness energy from the Sun or to monitor our solar system. Proponents of this theory argue that the Sun's immense energy and resources would be highly valuable to advanced civilizations, and it would make sense for them to establish a presence near our star. However, it is important to approach these claims with a critical mindset. The lack of substantial evidence and the potential for misinterpretation of visual phenomena make it challenging to draw definitive conclusions about the nature and origin of these alleged objects near the Sun. Skeptics argue that most of these sightings can be explained by known natural phenomena or camera artifacts, and that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Moreover, the harsh conditions near the Sun, including intense heat, radiation, and gravitational forces, pose significant challenges for any object or spacecraft to approach it closely. To gain a better understanding of these sightings, further scientific investigation is necessary. Advanced imaging technologies, such as high-resolution cameras and spectroscopic instruments, could be employed to capture more detailed and accurate data of these alleged objects near the Sun. Additionally, coordinated observations from multiple space-based and ground-based observatories could help validate or debunk the claims. As of right now, the sightings of unidentified objects near the Sun have sparked curiosity and debate within certain communities. While some theories suggest natural phenomena or camera artifacts as explanations, others propose the involvement of advanced technology. However, the lack of substantial evidence and the challenging conditions near the Sun make it difficult to reach definitive conclusions. Further scientific investigation and rigorous analysis are necessary to shed light on the true nature of these alleged sightings and to discern fact from fiction. In the town of Frankfurt, nestled among the busy streets, lived a man named Otto. An unassuming computer technician by day and a stargazer by night, Otto often found solace in the vastness of the cosmos. One fateful afternoon, while on a leisurely walk through the local park, he stumbled upon something that would create more questions than answers. A small, inconspicuous USB stick lying half buried in the dirt. Curiosity piqued, and the man picked up the USB stick and returned home. He plugged it into his computer, half expecting to find someone's forgotten family photos or mundane files. However, what he discovered defied all expectations. The USB stick contained a trove of photographs that seemed to belong to the realm of science fiction. As he scrolled through the images, Otto noticed that they depicted secret space missions, orbital stations, and landscapes of celestial bodies he had never seen before. Some photos showed astronauts in suits he didn't recognize, exploring landscapes on planets far from Earth. But what captured his attention most were the images of unidentified objects hovering above our planet. The photos were accompanied by cryptic notes, alluding to covert space missions, government secrecy, and a hidden cosmic narrative. Otto didn't know what to make of these images, but was aware that they carried the weight of unknown consequences. Wanting to find out more, Otto embarked on a quest to unravel the enigma behind the USB stick's contents. As he dove into research, he noted that he wasn't able to find out any more information about these mysterious photographs. After spending countless hours researching the images, Otto found himself caught in a web of theories, whistleblowers' testimonies, and shadowy organizations. He discovered that some of the photographs matched descriptions given by alleged insiders, further blurring the lines between reality and speculation. Otto said that his research led him to an underground network of truth seekers and investigators, individuals who had dedicated their lives to uncovering the hidden truths of the cosmos. However, Otto said that these discoveries came with consequences, and his personal life began to unravel as he became consumed by his pursuit. Friends grew distant, his job suffered, and he found himself being contacted by unknown numbers. As of right now, Otto said that these photographs sent him down a rabbit hole that opened his mind up to the world's truths. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that mysterious photographs have been uploaded online, and many who've investigated these claims have said that secret space missions have been happening for years. The realm of space exploration has long captivated humanity's imagination, inspiring grand achievements and scientific breakthroughs. Yet, beyond the publicized missions and celebrated triumphs, a shadowy world of secret space missions exists, a domain cloaked in classified information and veiled by intrigue. Secret space missions exist on the periphery of official space exploration narratives. These missions, conducted by government agencies or military organizations, are shielded from public knowledge for a multitude of reasons, often tied to national security, defense research, espionage, or technological advancement. Operating in secrecy allows agencies to maintain an edge in strategic capabilities while preventing adversaries from exploiting vulnerabilities. Many secret space missions stem from a need to safeguard national security interests. Advanced reconnaissance satellites, for example, offer invaluable real-time intelligence on potential threats or adversaries. These orbiting sentinels can monitor troop movements, weapons development, and any activities that could affect a nation's safety. The secrecy surrounding such missions ensures that sensitive information remains protected. Secret space missions have played a pivotal role in advancing cutting-edge technologies that often find applications beyond space exploration. The research and development required for these missions can lead to breakthroughs in propulsion systems, communication technologies, miniaturized electronics, and advanced materials. Due to these leaks, it's caused some to question whether we are alone in the universe, and it's this question that has captivated human minds for centuries. As our understanding of the cosmos has deepened, so too has the realization that the universe is vast, teeming with countless stars and planets. This realization has given rise to the notion that we might not be alone, that advanced civilizations could theoretically abound in the cosmos. The Drake equation, formulated by astrophysicist Frank Drake, attempts to estimate the number of detectable advanced civilizations in our galaxy. It takes into account factors such as the rate of star formation, the fraction of stars with planets, the number of habitable planets per star, the likelihood of life emerging, the development of intelligent life, and the capability to communicate across space. This equation suggests that the number of potential advanced civilizations could be substantial. The discovery of exoplanets, planets orbiting stars outside our solar system, has revolutionized our understanding of the cosmos. Many of these exoplanets lie within their star's habitable zone, where conditions might be conducive to the existence of liquid water, a crucial ingredient for life as we know it. With billions of stars in our galaxy alone, the sheer number of potentially habitable planets significantly increases the likelihood of advanced civilizations emerging. The Fermi paradox poses the question, if the universe is teeming with potential habitats for advanced civilizations, why have we not yet observed any signs of extraterrestrial life? There are various hypotheses to explain this paradox, including the possibility that advanced civilizations are rare, that they tend to self-destruct, or that they communicate in ways that we are not yet capable of detecting. However, the paradox also raises the notion that there could be factors we have not yet considered. The Copernican principle asserts that there is nothing special about Earth's position in the universe. In other words, the conditions that allowed for life on Earth are likely to exist elsewhere as well. This principle challenges the idea that Earth is unique and suggests that the emergence of life and advanced civilizations could be a natural consequence of the right conditions. The rapid technological advancements humanity has achieved in a relatively short span of time underscore the potential for other civilizations to develop advanced technologies. If we consider the exponential growth of our own technological capabilities, it stands to reason that civilizations that have evolved for much longer periods could have reached levels far beyond our own. Our understanding of life is based on our experiences on Earth, where life thrives in diverse environments and forms. If life can adapt and flourish in such a wide range of conditions, it suggests that advanced civilizations might come in forms radically different from what we envision. Our limitations in comprehending these alternative life forms could explain why we have not yet detected them. The age of the universe allows for vast cosmic timescales, during which advanced civilizations could have arisen, evolved, and disappeared. The universe's immense age offers ample opportunity for the emergence of advanced beings, especially if they possess the ability to sustain their societies over long periods. The concept of parallel development suggests that certain conditions necessary for the emergence of life and advanced civilizations might be universal. If these conditions are met, similar evolutionary pathways could occur on different planets, leading to the development of intelligence and technology. This idea implies that advanced civilizations could share common traits despite being separated by vast distances. One reason we may not have detected advanced civilizations is the vastness of interstellar distances. Even with advanced technologies, communicating across such expanses would pose challenges. Our current methods of communication, radio waves for instance, disperse over distance, making detection difficult. Advanced civilizations might use communication methods beyond our current comprehension. The concept of panspermia has ignited scientific curiosity and philosophical contemplation for centuries. The notion that life could be spread across the cosmos through celestial mechanisms challenges traditional ideas about the origin and distribution of life. The idea of panspermia dates back to ancient civilizations that speculated about life's origins and its potential dissemination throughout the universe. However, the modern scientific formulation of the theory can be attributed to the 5th century BC Greek philosopher Anaxagoras. He proposed that life's seeds could be transported through space, seeding other celestial bodies. Panspermia theory comes in several forms, each proposing different mechanisms for the transportation of life's building blocks or organisms across space. Lithopanspermia. This form suggests that life could be carried within rocks or meteorites, ejected from one planet or celestial body to another. These rocks could shield microorganisms from the harsh conditions of space and potentially deliver them to hospitable environments where they could thrive. Radiopanspermia. High-energy radiation could propel microscopic particles, including microorganisms, into space. The energy from cosmic rays or solar radiation could dislodge these particles from a planet's surface, launching them on journeys through space. Directed panspermia. This variation of the theory posits that intelligent civilizations could deliberately send life-forming molecules or even microorganisms to other planets. This concept raises ethical questions about the potential impact of introducing alien life to new environments. Gravitational panspermia. Gravitational interactions between celestial bodies, such as planets or moons, could lead to the exchange of material. Microbes or organic molecules could hitch a ride on comets or asteroids, which might then collide with other planets. Panspermia suggests that the seeds of life could be present in the form of microbial life or even complex organic molecules. Microbes, known for their resilience in extreme environments, could survive the harsh conditions of space, including vacuum, radiation, and extreme temperatures. Organic molecules, essential for the emergence of life, could be transported within icy grains or the interstellar medium itself. While direct evidence for panspermia remains elusive, researchers have identified microorganisms' potential to survive the rigors of space in laboratory experiments. Additionally, the discovery of complex organic molecules in meteorites and the detection of amino acids in interstellar dust provide tantalizing hints that the building blocks of life might indeed travel through space. Panspermia raises intriguing questions about the origin of life on Earth. If life's seeds were delivered from elsewhere, it might explain the rapid emergence of life after the conditions on Earth became suitable. Panspermia doesn't answer the question of life's ultimate origin, but shifts the focus to the possibility of life's formation elsewhere in the universe. Panspermia has profound implications for the search for advanced life. The theory suggests that life could exist in places previously deemed inhospitable. For instance, extremophiles on Earth provide examples of how life can survive in extreme environments, offering potential analogues for conditions on other planets. Beyond the confines of our solar system, panspermia could extend to the interstellar realm. The notion of life-bearing objects traveling between star systems challenges our understanding of the potential for life to colonize not only planets within our own galaxy, but also those in distant galaxies. The deliberate introduction of life to other planets, as proposed in directed panspermia, raises ethical concerns. Introducing alien organisms to ecosystems could disrupt existing ecological balances and potentially lead to unintended consequences. Panspermia connects life's journey with the cosmic ballet of celestial bodies, revealing the intricate interplay between the universe's components. It blurs the boundaries between individual planets, stars, and galaxies, suggesting that life's story is woven into the fabric of the cosmos itself. As of right now, panspermia, with its diverse forms and implications, offers a tantalizing perspective on the origin, distribution, and potential prevalence of life in the universe. While it remains a theoretical concept, panspermia challenges us to rethink the boundaries of life and the mechanisms that might have enabled its journey across the cosmos. As our understanding of exoplanets, astrobiology, and the intricacies of space exploration deepens, the exploration of panspermia continues to inspire wonder and curiosity about life's cosmic odyssey. There have been many reports of unidentified objects being sighted in space, including strange, glowing orbs that appear to move in ways that defy conventional explanation. While some of these sightings may be explained by natural phenomena or human error, others have proven to be more difficult to explain and have fueled speculation about the possibility of advanced life. Just recently, a man looking through NASA's library said that he found a mysterious photograph that shows what appears to be a silver orb. These mysterious orbs have been sighted all across the world, and researchers interested in the unknown have documented these sightings, many of which have remained a mystery. Many astronauts have come forward with their strange encounters, and some have detailed seeing a strange orb-like object that seems to have the ability to defy the laws of physics. This photograph appears to show one of these silver orbs, hovering just a few feet from the International Space Station. At first, many who saw the image assumed it was just a piece of space debris or some kind of malfunction with the equipment, but as they zoomed in, they realized that it was something else entirely. The orb was perfectly smooth and spherical, with no visible seams or markings. It seemed to be made of a strange metallic substance that shimmered in the light of the nearby stars. Oddly enough, many who've seen these objects have reported that they couldn't help but feel a sense of unease when they looked at it. Some eyewitnesses have said that there was something about it that seemed almost alive, as if it was watching them with a kind of detached curiosity. The mysterious orb that was seen close to the space station began to move, floating away and towards the darkness of space. One of the most famous sightings of a strange orb occurred in 1991, when astronauts on board the STS-43 Space Shuttle Atlantis reported seeing a strange, glowing object in space. The object was described as a greenish-blue ball of light and was seen moving across the sky at a speed that far exceeded the capabilities of any known human spacecraft. Despite extensive investigations into the incident, the object remains unexplained to this day. Since that time, there have been many other reports of orbs being sighted in space. For example, a video taken by a NASA camera on board the International Space Station showed a bright, glowing orb moving across the Earth's atmosphere. The object appeared to be moving in a controlled manner and did not behave like any known natural or man-made object. Similarly, there have been many reports of strange, glowing orbs being seen in the skies above military installations and nuclear power plants. Some have suggested that these objects could be evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, while others have argued that they could be the result of secret government projects or advanced military technology. While the existence of mysterious orbs in space remains a subject of debate and speculation, there are several factors that suggest the possibility of advanced life. For example, the sheer size and scale of the universe suggests that there could be countless other civilizations out there, many of which may be more advanced than our own. In addition, recent advances in astronomy and astrobiology have provided new insights into the conditions necessary for life to arise and thrive. For example, scientists have discovered a number of exoplanets, or planets outside our solar system, that are located in the so-called habitable zone around their parent stars, where conditions may be suitable for life as we know it. However, despite these exciting developments, the search for advanced life remains a challenging and complex task. While we may continue to observe strange phenomena and anomalies in space, it is important to approach these observations with a critical eye and consider alternative explanations. Ultimately, the search for orbs and other anomalous phenomena in space is an important part of our ongoing exploration of the cosmos and represents one of the most exciting and fascinating areas of scientific research today. By carefully analyzing the data and remaining open to new possibilities, we can continue to push the boundaries of human knowledge and discover new insights into the mysteries of our universe.
Earth's water may have come from the sun. When we have been looking at other planets, searching for life, one of the quickest ways to rule out potential life forms has been to question whether that planet has water. To do this, though, we tend to need to start a little closer to home and figure out exactly where our water came from. And could planets without water now somehow develop water a little later on? Now, however, scientists have begun to question a new, previously unconsidered source of water: the sun. Some astronomers are now suggesting that water may be the result of solar radiation carried to Earth on asteroids billions of years ago. The research was led by a team based at the University of Glasgow, and their study suggests the Sun as a source would match with the isotopic signature of water here on Earth. Their research consisted of atom probe tomography, a method that allows asteroid samples to be analysed. Some of these do carry water, while others do not. The study's lead author, Dr. Luke Daly, said, "The solar winds are streams of mostly hydrogen and helium ions, which flow constantly from the Sun out into space." Also supporting this new research is the debunking of the current theories. Professor Bland at Curtin University explained that the arrival of water on Earth via asteroids simply is not an idea that seems viable. The testing of the isotopic signature, which is essentially like the fingerprint of the water on Earth, does not match the fingerprints of the asteroids. This means that while the asteroids may have contributed, there must be at least one other source of water here on Earth. This Glaswegian team did show an isotopic signature matching with the Sun, however, suggesting that the Sun could be a contender in the form of solar wind. The overarching idea is that solar wind creates water on the surface of small grains of dust that then remains on the particles until they arrive on Earth. We still lack definitive answers. The research does give us another idea and brings us one step closer to answering a question that has baffled scientists for decades.
NASA telescope finds a Milky Way twin 9 billion light-years away. We all have theories of what might happen if people could successfully time travel and go back in time. While it's not yet possible to return to the past in its more direct sense, historically speaking, looking at stars can sometimes give scientists and researchers insight into the early history of many different astronomical phenomena. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope recently discovered a galaxy that has a significant and notable resemblance to our own. This is huge because it gives researchers and scientists a lot of insight and information about what the galaxy must have looked like and various traits it might have sustained in its infancy. The galaxy, referred to as the Milky Way's twin or mirror image, is nicknamed the Sparkler, owing to the fact that there are about 24 glittering globular clusters orbiting around it. There are also a few dwarf galaxies nearby that are essentially swallowed up by this twin galaxy because it's so large in comparison. This finding is already adding to the existing research and information that we have about our galaxy. The JWST was able to show what the Sparkler looked like when the entire universe was only 4 billion years old. What this implies is that the Sparkler, much like the Milky Way, must have started developing and forming quite early in cosmic history. Not only that, but if it continues in the same growth pattern and path as the Milky Way, through galaxy acquisitions and mergers, then in about 9 billion years, it will likely look just like the Milky Way. The Sparkler is in the direction of the constellation Volans, in the sky of the southern hemisphere. It's quite far from us at about 9 billion light-years away, meaning it must have come into existence a few billion years after the Big Bang. Like the Milky Way, it did not just appear into being. It formed, developed, and grew. Both galaxies began as what is called overdensities of matter, a gathering of substances like neutral hydrogen clouds. These particles were attracted to each other due to strong gravitational pulls, creating blobs and clumps, some of which remained separate as clusters of stars. The Milky Way, and quite possibly the Sparkler, then went through a period of acquisition and merging, during which it cannibalized on surrounding dwarf galaxies, thereby adding to its own size and makeup. This is a big evolutionary step in our own galaxy, because scientists think that at least half of the Milky Way's mass came from these mergers. While it's not known for certain whether the Sparkler will definitely follow the same evolutionary growth as the Milky Way, the JWST seems to indicate that there is a high probability that it will.
Astronomers find mysterious cavity in space 500 light-years away. Astronomers have recently discovered an enormous cavity which they believe was the result of a stellar explosion millions of years ago. Described as a bubble-shaped void, they discovered the cavity between the Perseus and Taurus constellations. More precisely, it was found in a star-forming region, which is a cluster of gas and dust which to date scientists believe form from supernovas. Having mapped the Perseus-Taurus constellation star-forming region, data collected by the Gaia spacecraft revealed the huge cavity which previously went unnoticed by 2D mapping systems. Scientists had long been aware of this star region. The depth and thickness of the molecular clouds associated with the region had been a mystery for some time. There are a couple of current theories as to the presence of the void within this star-forming region. Either it is possible that a supernova exploded at the core of the bubble, pushing gas outwards and expanding the cavity, or a series of supernovae over the period of millions of years created and added to it over time. Although they may not know for sure what caused this phenomenon, scientists are well aware of how much more there is to learn about the region and supernova-related events in general. Discovering this void while trying to understand how gas and dust are released and rearranged during stellar explosions, they now want to turn their focus to the chain of events triggered by the ending of a star and the resulting supernova explosion.
Over the years, many strange objects have been observed close to the Sun. These objects, which have been captured by NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory and other satellites, have sparked a great deal of interest and speculation among scientists and the general public alike. Interestingly, a few days ago, an amateur astronomer by the name of John posted some strange photographs to social media. John detailed that the photographs were taken by the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. For those unaware, the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory is a joint mission between the European Space Agency and NASA. It was launched in 1995 with the goal of studying the Sun, the solar wind, and the interplanetary medium. SOHO is stationed in a special orbit known as a Lagrangian point, which allows it to observe the Sun continuously without being blocked by the Earth or other planets. The spacecraft is equipped with a suite of instruments that allow it to observe the Sun's atmosphere, magnetic field, and solar wind in unprecedented detail. One day, while poring over images captured by NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, John noticed something strange. In the images, which had been taken close to the Sun, he saw a large rectangle-shaped object and said that in other frames, glowing objects could be seen close to the outside of the Sun. Oddly enough, in other images, the amateur astronomer said that he noticed a black cube, which has become known in recent years as being a recent visitor, and although space agencies have denied that this object is of any interest, those who investigate the unknown have said that it's often seen hovering close to the Sun before flying off at extreme speeds. At first, John thought that it might be a comet or some other natural phenomenon, but as he continued to study the images, he became convinced that he had captured something truly unusual. Determined to find out more, John reached out to other amateur astronomers and enthusiasts online, sharing his images and asking for their input. To his surprise, he received a flood of responses, with many people agreeing that the object in the images was unlike anything they had ever seen before. As more and more people saw the images, other theories were put forward to explain what it was, with those who investigate strange objects saying that this isn't the first time that something strange has been detected close to the Sun. Some skeptics dismissed his claims, suggesting that the object in the images was simply a glitch or anomaly, but those who've seen it remain convinced that the solar probe had captured something truly extraordinary. Those who believe in these strange objects have said that the mystery of what these things are remains unsolved. Some researchers suggested that it might be an advanced spacecraft, while others speculated that it might be a previously undiscovered type of comet or asteroid. One of the most common types of objects seen close to the Sun are comets. Comets are small, icy objects that orbit the Sun and release gas and dust as they approach the star. When a comet gets close enough to the Sun, the heat causes the gas and dust to form a bright, glowing tail that can be visible from Earth. In addition to comets, there have also been reports of other strange objects near the Sun. One of the most famous examples is a group of objects known as sun cruisers, which are believed to be fragments of comets or asteroids that have broken apart as they pass close to the Sun. These objects appear as bright streaks on SOHO images and can be seen moving across the Sun's surface. Another strange object seen near the Sun is a giant anomaly that appeared in SOHO images in 2012. The object, which was several times larger than Earth, appeared to be a giant, glowing sphere that was hovering near the Sun's surface. The object sparked a great deal of speculation and debate, with some suggesting that it was a massive, advanced spacecraft. While there is no definitive explanation for these strange objects seen close to the Sun, scientists have offered a number of possible explanations. One theory is that they are simply natural phenomena, such as comets or fragments of asteroids that have broken apart. Others have suggested that they may be the result of instrument errors or glitches, or that they are simply optical illusions. Despite the lack of a clear explanation, these strange objects have captured the imaginations of many people and have led to a great deal of speculation and debate. Some people have even suggested that they are evidence of advanced life or advanced technologies, although NASA has said that there is no solid evidence to support these claims. In any case, the study of these strange objects seen near the Sun is an important area of research for scientists. By studying these objects and trying to understand their origins and properties, researchers can gain insights into the workings of our solar system and the universe as a whole. As of right now, the strange objects seen close to the Sun are a fascinating and mysterious phenomenon that has captured the attention of scientists and the public alike. While there is still much we don't know about these objects, they offer a tantalizing glimpse into the mysteries of the universe and the workings of our solar system. As our technology continues to improve, we may be able to gain a better understanding of these objects and unlock the secrets of the universe.
Russian researcher suggests Venera 13 imaged life on Venus. In 2012, a well-respected Russian researcher claimed to have spotted something new within the Venera 13 images captured by a Soviet landing probe 30 years prior. Dr. Sanformality made worldwide headlines in 2012 as he claimed to have spotted signs of life in the images sent back from a landing probe within the 1970s and 80s. This would suggest life on Venus, but there is a great deal of speculation surrounding the authenticity of this claim. Revealed in the Scientific Journal of Solar System Research, the discussion paper outlines a second look and analysis of the panoramic images the Soviet-built Venera 13 landing probe captured. The argument that there has been evidence of life spotted is a three-pronged approach. As Sanformality indicates, three objects that exhibit some characteristics of living organisms. The probe landed on Venus as planned on March 1, 1982. It was stationed in the Navka Planitia in an elevated area, Phoebe Reggio. Although Venera 13 only survived for 127 minutes, it completed its task, taking panoramic pictures of the surface on Venus to be analysed and researched further. Who would have thought these photos would still be presenting more findings in 2012, 30 years after they were taken? The images involved in the claims were taken courtesy of two of Venera 13's cameras. In his report, he explains that there were some large objects, ranging between a decimeter and half a meter in size with, as he describes to be, an unusual morphology. Furthermore, whilst the three objects in question were visible in some images, they were also missing in others, suggesting they may have moved. The first of the mysterious objects or possible life forms is an item that has been dubbed the disk. The image only displays the lower half of the disk, though is an estimated 0.34 meters in diameter. As the frames progress, the changes in the optical axis of the scanning camera suggest the disk itself is moving too, an idea supported by its relation to the upper boundary of the image. Throughout the various pictures captured, it appears as though the shape, size, and dimensions of the disk shifts, with it even seeming to resemble chevrons at one point, according to the article published by Dr. Sanformality. The next object he studied was described as a black rag. This is seen up until the 13-minute mark in the photographs recorded. The estimated size for this rag is just 60 millimeters in height, with its origin being marked as unknown. The strange thing about the black rag is not its shape or size, but rather that it spontaneously vanishes. It is visible again from minute 27, but by 36 it has disappeared without a trace. Perhaps the strangest item spotted has been named the Scorpion. To begin with, an explanation for its presence was that it was part of the machine landing. Though having been working for more than 90 minutes at its first appearance, the stray parts should have been ejected and out of the way much sooner than that. Sanformality even argues that if this Scorpion is machinery, then the lander would have been overheated due to the slow time to rid itself of the landing parts. Furthermore, the Scorpion seems to move throughout the images, emerging from soil and then disappearing once again, at the 119th minute mark. The Scorpion seems to have taken an hour and a half to dig itself out of a 1 to 2 centimeter groove in the soil, suggesting that it is indeed an animal. It has extremely limited physical capabilities. It is reiterated throughout the research paper that the images have not been edited or retouched in any way, and that the photographs shared are the raw data from the Venera 13. Some have suggested that Sanformality's words are mistranslated or pulled out of context, as the majority suggests that the marks in the photographs are not living organisms, but rather a series of camera lens covers, scuffs, and blurry images. NASA later confirmed, through higher resolution photography of Mars, that the shapes and figures seen in the Venera 13 images were likely mechanical components, as these shapes could be seen on Mars too, and could be identified due to the higher camera quality. Furthermore, Venera 14 captured similar images to 13 despite them being 1,000 kilometers apart from one another, yet the exact same shapes were visible in those photographs too. Whilst stumbling across other life forms within our very own solar system would be exciting, it is likely a false call. Even so, the images and technology to even have these debates remains a huge testament to scientific advancement as of late. Voyager 2 message. 40 years after its mission launch, NASA spacecraft Voyager 2 sent a message back to scientists on Earth, which has now been decoded. Being the longest-running space mission to date, the faint signal sent back to Earth is truly incredible and has provided the most detailed look yet at the edge of our solar system. The message was initially relayed back to us after Voyager 2 crossed a boundary in space which marks the edge of the Sun's reach and the start of true interstellar space. This is no easy feat, as this elusive boundary lies a whopping 12 billion miles from Earth. Voyager 2 is only the second ever spacecraft to ever travel beyond the depths of the heliosphere. In other words, the bubble of supersonic charged particles emitted outwards by the Sun. Voyager 1 beat it out of the heliosphere by 6 years, despite being launched a month after Voyager 2, as the latter took a somewhat more scenic route through the solar system. The recently decrypted signal is not the only pearl of wisdom to have come from Voyager 2, as its 6-year detour also provided us with the only ever captured close-up photos of Uranus and Neptune. What makes all this data so much more incredible is that scientists never expected Voyager 2 to make it this far and survive quite so long in the outermost depths of space. Professor Edward Stone of the California Institute of Technology has been working on the mission since before its launch in 1977, and described just how much of an achievement it was that the NASA spacecraft reached this landmark and beyond, explaining that scientists were not quite sure just how large the bubble of particles was. The exact nature of the heliosphere up until recently has not been definitively understood. However, its boundary-like nature was confirmed by Voyager 1 after observing a drastic temperature difference upon passing out of the bubble. The temperature drop is now known to be caused by warmer particles from the Sun meeting an interstellar wind, blowing towards this boundary from supernovae which exploded millions of years ago. The longevity displayed by Voyager 2 goes to show the steady advancements being made in spacecraft technologies and opens doors for so many more future discoveries to be made further in space than we have previously imagined. Strange galactic signal coming from the center of the Andromeda. we have only begun to truly understand the nature of particles that make up space relatively recently. And despite the wealth of knowledge that we have already uncovered, there remains an untold amount that is yet to be discovered. For example, although radio waves and the bodies that emit them have been widely studied, recently researchers noticed a strange pattern of radio waves being emitted from deep within the center of the Milky Way. When objects emit radio waves into space, they tend to follow discrete patterns depending on where and what they are being emitted from. However, these waves demonstrate no discernible hallmarks of known objects. Ziteng Wang, a graduate student at the School of Physics at the University of Sydney and the lead author of the study detailing the unusual waves, said that the strangest property of this new signal is that it has a very high polarization. This means its light oscillates in only one direction, but that the direction rotates with time. The brightness of the object also varies dramatically by a factor of 100, and the signal switches on and off apparently at random. We have never seen anything like it. At first, we thought it could be a pulsar or a very dense type of spinning dead star, or a type of star that emits huge solar flares. But the signals from this new source do not match what we expect from these types of celestial objects. The signal was observed by Wang and an international team using CSIRO's ASCAP radio telescope to observe the sky in new ways in order to locate anomalies revealed through radio waves. When they found this mysterious unseen object producing these waves, it was immediately distinguishable not only for its unique pattern, but also because of its presentation over time. Initially invisible, the team noticed that it became very bright before fading and reappearing, which is unusual for celestial bodies. This strange behavior occurred a total of 6 times over the course of the 9 months that the astronomers recorded it. Yet, when they attempted to observe the region using visible light, there seemed to be nothing there, no matter which source or telescope they used. As they tried in vain to visualize the mysterious object in visible light, the strange radio waves continued, in seemingly no specific order or pattern. Each time the signal appeared, it manifested differently, sometimes lasting a single day, while other times it lasted weeks. No matter how the researchers tried, they could not definitively nail down what the object could be. Currently, the reigning hypothesis is that the object might belong to a new class of cosmic objects called Galactic Center radio transients, about which little is known. Perhaps if more information can be gleaned about this mysterious object, researchers will be able to definitively say whether or not it belongs to this class of GCRTs, or whether it belongs in a class of its own. Analyzing radio waves is one of the best ways for researchers to understand what lies undiscovered in space. Directly reviewing objects can only get us so far, as there are limits to how far visible light can be transmitted, and more proximal stars and bodies can block out the bodies beyond. It's discoveries such as this one, despite how mysterious it remains, that allow us to continue to gather information regarding the strange and mysterious world outside of our planet. Mysterious finger-like features spotted on the Sun. Not all of the most mysterious parts of space are due to recent discoveries. Some were brought to our attention long ago, but still manage to mystify astronomers and researchers alike. For one of these mysteries at least, it appears that we may finally have some answers. Scientists have long observed solar flares erupting from our Sun in great rays of bright energy flaring outward, but in 1999, strange, darkly coloured downflows of energy were also noticed within the flares. These were described as downward-moving dark voids and resembled finger-like projections interspersed within the solar flares. These formations were referred to as supra-Arcade downflows, and although it was suspected that their cause might be tied to magnetic reconnection in some way, their origins have remained largely a mystery until now. The research team studying these events carefully analysed the images of solar flares with the downflows present, taken by NASA's Atmospheric Imaging Assembly on the Solar Dynamics Observatory, which records 7 different types of images of the Sun's atmosphere every 12 seconds. They then reconstructed 3-dimensional simulations of solar flares to compare with the downflow images and came to a surprising realization. What they discovered was that it seems as though most supra-Arcade downflows are not a product of magnetic reconnection at all. This process describes the phenomenon of the sun's magnetic fields being stretched and then snapping back through the flares, but the researchers found that these downflows were much too slow to make this a likely possibility. Astronomer and lead author of the study, Shenkai Shen, knew that things did not add up when it came to the slow speed of the downflows, saying that this is not predicted by classic reconnection models, which show the downflows should be much quicker. It's a conflict that requires some other explanation. After much study, another explanation was proposed. Rather than magnetic reconnection, it is much more likely that supra-Arcade downflows are actually forming as the independent product of the interaction of two fluids with contrasting densities. When this occurs within the plasma scorching off of the sun in a solar flare, an unstable mix is created, resulting in gaps where there is actually an absence of plasma bordering regions of much higher plasma densities. These empty spaces are the supra-Arcade downflows that have so puzzled researchers for decades. Even though the answer seems rather simple, it was not so easy to arrive at this conclusion, which was only made possible through the use of three-dimensional simulations of solar flares. These technologies will continue to be used to attempt to peel away the layers of mystery that surround solar flares and its resultant space weather, and potentially reach such an understanding that we could one day be able to forecast solar flares to avoid the worst of its impacts. Essentially, resolving the mystery of supra-Arcade downflows was one small drop in the larger pool of solar flare knowledge, but its effects will be felt far and wide in the field as studies are continued. Scientists reveal that 100 stars mysteriously disappeared. It has long been understood that none of the limitless number of stars that glimmer across billions upon billions of galaxies were built to last forever. Even though they might burn brightly for what seems like an unending lifetime, eventually all stars will burn out. One thing stars are not known for doing is simply disappearing without a trace. That is, until now. Recently, scientists working with the vanishing and appearing sources during a century of observations, or VASCO, compared images of the sky taken over 70 years ago to current images. Although stars do eventually burn out and fade, they have lifespans of around 10 billion years, so researchers were not expecting to see much variation between the decades-old images and the placement of stars in the current sky. Surprisingly, they identified at least 100 stars that were clearly visible in the older images that were absent from modern-day photos in results that were published in the Astronomical Journal. So, what could possibly be behind the differences noted, and what could have caused such a large number of the seemingly unchanging pinpricks of light in our night sky to disappear entirely? Well, the short answer is that the researchers are not quite sure yet, although some suspect that the solution might provide valuable information to the search for none other than extraterrestrial life, while others take a more conservative approach and hypothesize that the discrepancies were merely short-lived flashes caught on film. When stars finally come to an end, they tend to expire in a massive burst of light that we would undoubtedly be able to trace back to some point in the intervening years, meaning that there has to be some sort of intricate or astonishing explanation as to why so many stars could simply disappear without a trace. This means that uncovering the reason why these stars were able to slide peacefully from our view could potentially have major ramifications for our understanding of the cosmos that surrounds us. Currently, many believe that there may be an as-yet undiscovered way that stars perish, resulting in this quiet decline. But researchers with the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, also known as SETI, have proposed that these missing stars could possibly signify the centers of advanced alien civilizations who blocked their suns with solar panels. Although this latter reason might sound slightly far-fetched, SETI researchers concluded long ago that intelligent alien life forms wouldn't be easy to discover and might even be in a downright absurd location. Eager to solve this burning dilemma, researchers dove deeper into the data of the missing stars, cross-referencing light sources and the locations of the missing stars in order to hopefully uncover a clue as to what might have caused so many disappearances in the intervening years, and to ensure that all of the missing pinpricks were actually light sources like stars and not simply transient bursts or errors within the image. This process was a painstaking one that involved carefully studying over 24,000 discrepancies, but researchers now know that the 100 identified missing light sources were indeed not artifacts. Regardless, the answers that scientists are searching for still lie rather far off, as much more study is needed to get to the bottom of what could have caused these disappearances. Were they simply imaging anomalies, or could they point to an alien civilization or several lurking within the cosmos? Only time will tell. Scientists detect the ghostly signal that reveals the engine of the universe. When we make a discovery that inches us a little closer to being able to confirm a theory, it's thrilling. But when we uncover something monumental, it is truly revolutionary to the field, to our history, and to our futures. Physics is a discipline that truly captures our understanding of the world. To advance our understanding of physics is to advance our understanding of everything we are surrounded by. In November of 2020, an article was published to the scientific journal Nature, in which scientists detailed their research, where they detected for the first time neutrinos that can be traced back to carbon-nitrogen-oxygen fusion. Carbon-nitrogen-oxygen fusion, otherwise known as the CNO cycle, is a process that occurs inside the Sun. Whilst to those of us who do not know all too much about physics, this particle is a truly iconic moment that will not be forgotten anytime soon. This finding can confirm theories and predictions we have been guessing at since the 1930s. Gioacchino Ranucci, a researcher at the Italian National Institute for Nuclear Physics, said it's really a breakthrough for solar and stellar physics. He has been one of the researchers tackling this project since it first began in 1990. Scientists were able to use the Borexino detector at the IFN's Gran Sasso Particle Physics Laboratory located in central Italy. This is an incredibly sensitive piece of equipment. It is the largest underground research centre in the world and sits below the Apennine Mountains. The quest to hunt down this particle is the Borexino project, and uncovering the neutrino we have been looking for concludes decades of predictions and research. It has revealed to us the main nuclear reaction that most stars use to fuse hydrogen into helium. Most stars, including our very own Sun, emit massive amounts of energy by fusing hydrogen into helium. This is essentially a way to burn hydrogen. It is worth bearing in mind that hydrogen is the simplest and most abundant element in our universe, making it the main fuel source. For the Sun particularly, 99% of its energy comes from what is known as proton-proton fusion. This produces beryllium, lithium, and boron before they are broken down into helium. It's not always this clear and straightforward. Our Sun is not very big, at least not in comparison to some of the other stars in the universe. It's worth noting that typically the larger the star, the hotter it is. These are therefore powered mostly by CNO fusion. CNO fusion keeps an endless loop between carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen as to which atomic nuclei facilitates the fuse of hydrogen into helium. By our calculations, the CNO cycle is the primary type of fusion in the universe. Unfortunately for us, in the star closest to us, the Sun, this accounts for only 1% of its energy. The Borexino detector searches for neutrinos that are produced in the nuclear fusion process at the Sun's core. This is a difficult process due to how hard it is to detect neutrinos. Using neutrinos to study distant nuclear reactions is a preferable and ideal approach, since neutrinos have very limited interactions, barely interacting with anything at all. To put into context how difficult it is to detect these elusive particles, trillions of neutrinos pass through the Borexino detector with each passing second, though only a few dozen are detected within an entire day. This is done by looking for small, faint flashes of light produced as they decay in a dark 300-ton tank of water. Having poured decades of research into this, it was not until the last 5 years that big strides were taken, as the detector was made even more sensitive. This was done by blocking external sources of radioactivity. This makes the chamber of the Boryx detector the most radiation-free place on Earth. From this research, we can see the first ever piece of evidence confirming that the long-hypothesized CNO cycle is taking place in the Sun and other stars. This can push us to uncover more about how the cores of our stars are composed, as well as a bit more behind the formation process of heavy stars. This one tiny type of particle that has been discovered has had a major, momentous impact upon the world of physics as we know it.
The fascination with the cosmos has long captivated humanity's imagination, igniting curiosity about the mysteries that lie beyond our planet. Among these mysteries, the phenomenon of unidentified objects has frequently emerged, with reports of sightings ranging from Earth's surface to the vast expanse of space. Recent claims of unidentified objects seen close to the Moon have reignited discussions about otherworldly life, advanced technologies, and the limitations of our understanding of the universe. While skeptics and believers continue to engage in debates, these sightings near the Moon prompt us to consider the implications and potential explanations behind these mysterious encounters. This most recent sighting has been shared around social media, and it shows two glowing objects close to the Moon. Interestingly, it's been reported that the two objects could only be seen when the individuals zoomed in on their camera, and oddly enough, this isn't the first time that something like this has been reported. The man said that as he zoomed in to get a better view of the Moon, the craters and valleys revealed themselves in intricate detail. He adjusted the focus, and with each adjustment, the lunar surface appeared clearer. It was during this precise moment that something extraordinary happened. His trained eye caught a glimpse of two faint glimmering specks moving across the Moon's surface. At first, he dismissed the glows as mere artifacts or a trick of the light. To his astonishment, the two glows persisted, steadily traversing the Moon's face. They were not stars. Their movements were deliberate, calculated, and too close to be anything but extraordinary. The man said that he reached for his camera, quickly adjusting the settings to capture the mysterious objects. The two glows seemed to hover above the Moon, a serene and otherworldly ballet beneath the vastness of space. As the minutes passed, his initial disbelief transformed into a mixture of wonder and curiosity. The glows emitted a soft luminescence, casting a gentle radiance on the Moon's surface below. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity, the glows began to fade, their brilliance dimming until they were nothing more than ethereal wisps against the lunar backdrop. The unidentified objects moved off the Moon's edge and disappeared into the obsidian abyss of space, leaving behind a sense of awe and unanswered questions. For decades, individuals have reported seeing inexplicable objects in the sky, often accompanied by vivid descriptions of their appearance and behavior. However, the notion of unidentified objects near the Moon introduces an additional layer of intrigue. Our celestial companion, the Moon, has been a source of fascination and exploration since time immemorial. It is both a symbol of inspiration and an object of scientific study. The idea that unidentified objects are appearing in proximity to this celestial body intensifies questions about the nature and origin of these phenomena. One possible explanation for mysterious sightings near the Moon is the presence of advanced human-made technology, potentially originating from space agencies or classified military programs. As human capabilities in space exploration advance, it becomes increasingly plausible that we possess technologies capable of reaching lunar distances. Secretive projects or experimental craft could be responsible for some of these sightings. However, the question remains whether such technologies could account for the full range of reported characteristics, including sudden accelerations, abrupt changes in direction, and other maneuvers that challenge our current understanding of physics. Another perspective considers the possibility that these sightings could be related to natural celestial phenomena that we have yet to fully comprehend. Optical illusions, reflections, and atmospheric disturbances could potentially distort the appearance of objects, leading observers to mistake them for unidentified objects. Similarly, Anomalies caused by cosmic debris or meteoroids could create temporary visual anomalies that perplex viewers. While such explanations may account for some cases, they might struggle to explain instances where unidentified objects exhibit deliberate behavior inconsistent with natural celestial processes. Among the more sensational explanations is the idea that these sightings represent advanced activity. The Moon, as Earth's closest neighbor in space, could hold particular interest for potential visitors from other star systems. The prospect of an advanced civilization observing or even interacting with our Moon raises profound questions about the motives, technology, and intentions of advanced entities. However, this notion rests heavily on assumptions about the intentions and capabilities of potential visitors, as well as the logistics of interstellar travel. It also raises concerns about why they would choose to reveal themselves in a manner that leads to mere fleeting glimpses, rather than direct contact. In evaluating these sightings, it's important to acknowledge the limitations of our human perception and the potential for misinterpretation. Psychological factors, including cognitive biases and perceptual errors, can influence how we process and remember what we observe. Additionally, the vastness of space and the complexities of its interaction with light can create illusions that challenge our ability to accurately assess the nature of distant objects. Furthermore, the advancement of technology, such as powerful telescopes and high-resolution cameras, has made it easier to capture and share images and videos of celestial phenomena. While these tools offer new opportunities for documentation, they also raise concerns about the potential for hoaxes, misidentifications, and the influence of digital manipulation. The realm of space exploration has always been marked by a blend of scientific inquiry and the allure of the unknown. Over the years, numerous reports of unidentified objects have added an extra layer of intrigue to this field. While these objects have often been associated with science fiction, recent developments suggest that even established space agencies, such as NASA, are taking a closer look at these enigmatic phenomena. Unidentified objects are objects observed in the sky that exhibit flight characteristics beyond the scope of conventional human-made aircraft. Historically, these sightings have generated speculation about advanced life, advanced technologies, and government cover-ups. However, a growing body of evidence, coupled with technological advancements in observation and data analysis, has prompted NASA to address the subject with a more open-minded and scientific approach. NASA's primary mission is to explore space, advance scientific knowledge, and expand our understanding of the universe. This mission naturally extends to studying any phenomena that might occur within the celestial realm, including those that challenge our current scientific paradigms. As sightings continue to be reported by credible sources, including trained pilots and military personnel, NASA recognizes the importance of rigorously investigating these occurrences. The interest in unidentified objects within the scientific community is not a new development. In recent years, NASA's attention to unidentified objects has manifested in a more systematic and transparent manner. The establishment of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force within the US Department of Defense, which collaborates with other agencies including NASA, signifies a renewed effort to gather and analyze credible data on sightings. The goal is to determine whether any observed phenomena pose potential national security threats or could offer insights into new aerospace technologies. NASA's involvement in investigating unidentified objects underscores the agency's commitment to scientific rigor and evidence-based inquiry. The study of unidentified objects within the framework of established scientific methodologies allows for the identification of misperceptions, optical illusions, and conventional explanations that might account for many sightings. This approach seeks to demystify these occurrences while recognizing the small subset of cases that remain genuinely unexplained. Furthermore, NASA's exploration of unidentified objects holds broader implications for our understanding of the universe. As technology advances, our ability to observe distant celestial objects and phenomena improves. Unexplained observations, such as unidentified objects in space, provide an opportunity to refine our instruments, observation techniques, and understanding of natural phenomena. Whether these objects are atmospheric anomalies, cosmic debris, or even extraterrestrial probes, studying them enhances our capacity to differentiate between known and unknown entities in space. It's important to acknowledge that the investigation of these objects within the scientific community remains a contentious topic. As the privatization of space exploration continues to advance, SpaceX, the pioneering aerospace company founded by Elon Musk, has become a leader in the development of innovative rocket technology and ambitious missions to colonize Mars. Alongside the public's fascination with these advancements, there has been a growing interest in reports of unidentified objects spotted in the vicinity of SpaceX missions. Since the company's inception, there have been several instances of mysterious aircraft sightings reported during SpaceX missions. These sightings have ranged from mysterious lights and unexplained objects seen near rocket launches to unidentified craft observed near the International Space Station during SpaceX resupply missions. One of the most widely discussed sightings happened on April 19th, when a strange black triangle was seen in the background of the Starlink mission, which led to a flurry of social media posts and speculations about advanced visitors. Shortly after the launch, observers spotted the black triangle in the background, and theories were soon put forward to explain what the object was. Although SpaceX didn't respond to this sighting, in the past, officials said that these objects are likely space debris. Many of these sightings associated with SpaceX missions have been debunked by experts who provide plausible, natural explanations for the observed phenomena. These explanations often involve atmospheric and lighting conditions, space debris, or other human-made objects in Earth's orbit. While some sightings can be readily explained by natural phenomena or human activity, others remain unexplained and continue to generate debate among enthusiasts and researchers. The growing interest in sightings related to SpaceX missions has several implications for the public's perception of unidentified phenomena and the possibility of advanced life. As private space exploration becomes more commonplace, the general public has greater access to information and visual media related to rocket launches and other space missions, increasing the likelihood of witnessing and reporting unusual phenomena. Additionally, the association of sightings with cutting-edge space technology and missions, such as those conducted by SpaceX, can fuel the public's curiosity and speculation about the existence of extraterrestrial life and advanced civilizations. This interest is further amplified by the recent declassification of footage and reports by the United States government, which has led to increased public discourse and debate about unidentified aerial phenomena. As of right now, these sightings that have been captured during SpaceX missions represent a fascinating intersection of public interest in cutting-edge space exploration and the ongoing debate surrounding unidentified phenomena. While many of these sightings can be debunked through careful analysis and expert explanations, some remain unexplained, continuing to captivate the imaginations of enthusiasts and the general public alike. As private space exploration continues to advance, it is likely that interest in mysterious aircrafts will increase.
NASA's Webb delivers deepest infrared image of universe yet. The James Webb Telescope also captured an infrared image of SMACS 0723, which is a galaxy cluster filled with a myriad of various galaxies. The JWST went a step further by highlighting some of the faintest objects in space ever captured. Granted, the image taken is nothing but a tiny part of a huge universe, a small snapshot into the distant unknown. The reason behind the choice of capturing a galaxy cluster is that clusters act somewhat like magnifying glasses. They help astronomers find galaxies even further away. Some of these distant galaxies witnessed the universe's infancy billions of years ago. The JWST used its NIRCam to create the image utilizing a composition of varying wavelengths. It took just over 12 hours to produce, and the results outshine even the amazing images taken by the Hubble Space Telescope, many of which take several weeks to complete. SMACS 0723 was captured by the James Webb Telescope in the exact same beauty it possessed over 4.6 billion years ago, a live reflection from the past. This galaxy cluster can be observed from the south in the direction of the constellation Volans. There is still not much known about the galaxies in the cluster, but scientists hope to uncover more as the JWST's data is processed. The image produced by the James Webb Telescope focuses on tiny clusters of stars that are typically overlooked or overshadowed in images taken of space, but the JWST image showcases all the tiny features of the galaxy cluster that have never been seen prior. The light we see is reflected from billions of years ago. We see these galaxies as they were long before the rise of humanity on Earth because the light takes so long to reach us. When looking at the image, we see youthful galaxies, some of which formed not long after the Big Bang itself. Scientists hope to discover individual galaxies in the cluster's masses, chemical compositions, ages, and personal histories. Every galaxy has a story to tell that astronomers hope to uncover and piece together. Space dust is prevalent in the image and encases our cosmos in colors of all sorts, highlighting the glorious beauty and glamour of our cosmos for how otherworldly it is. Dust is crucial in the creation of stars, but some galaxies, such as blue ones, possess very little of it. Red galaxies, in comparison, have a plenitude of this star-creating dust, while green galaxies generally are mostly filled with chemical compounds such as hydrocarbons. All this amazing research will shed light on how galaxies form and why they are this way, including insight into how they merge, expand, and thrive. Perhaps scientists might use this information to answer the question of why some galaxies cease star production entirely. The James Webb Telescope has captured 48 different galaxies at once using its near-infrared spectrograph. Astronomers detect secret water reserves in the solar system's largest canyon. Valles Marineris, also known as the Grand Canyon of Mars, is the largest canyon in our solar system. But Valles Marineris attracts scientific curiosity for more than just its size. The 2,485-mile-long canyon system may also be home to hidden reserves of water. Recent data from an instrument known as the ESA Roscosmos ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter's Friend shows abnormal hydrogen levels below Mars's surface. Unlike previous instruments, FRIEND, which stands for Fine Resolution Epithermal Neutron Detector, can detect neutrons up to a meter below the surface of Mars. According to physicist Alexei Malakov, neutrons are produced when highly energetic particles known as galactic cosmic rays strike Mars. Low neutron levels indicate the presence of hydrogen. Because dry soil emits more neutrons than wet soil, the number of neutrons emitted by soil beneath Mars's surface can indicate levels of water. Between May 2018 and February 2021, FRIEND collected the data that indicates high concentrations of subsurface hydrogen. It suggests that soil up to a meter deep in the Valles Marineris region contains water that is either locked inside minerals or ice. Because it is unusual for minerals in this region to contain large amounts of water, experts believe that water ice near the surface is the more probable explanation. If the hydrogen is truly forming water molecules, this suggests that water makes up to 40% of the area close to the surface in the region. This watery area is roughly the size of the Netherlands. This discovery is unexpected, as the pressure and temperature around the Mars equator does not create a suitable environment for large stores of water. The presence of water in Valles Marineris suggests unusual conditions, possibly relating to the angle of its slopes. The water may also be sitting in scattered ancient deposits. This discovery of water is fascinating because of its surprising location, but this is not the first reserve found on the planet. It appears that the majority of water on Mars exists in the poles in the form of ice. The warmth surrounding the equator prevents the formation of ice at many latitudes. Water on Mars is typically found at higher latitudes, but this recent finding suggests it can be located under the surface as well. The watery region of Valles Marineris is abundant despite unfavorable conditions at the equator. Because of this, it has been compared to the permafrost regions of Earth, where ice is constantly present underneath the dry soil due to lower temperatures. It is still unclear exactly why water has been able to form near the Mars equator and what form that water takes. Understanding the form and conditions of this water may lead to even more important discoveries. This water could expand the possibilities for exploration on Mars. Space crew would likely land around the equator, and accessible water close to the surface could mean greater survival capabilities for the crew. If the water exists in a permafrost-like state, it could contain frozen microorganisms or signs of previous life in the form of organic molecules. And if this water is only a meter below the surface, signs of life on Mars might not be so difficult to come by after all. Scientists say that 4 mysterious signals from outer space are coming from galaxies like ours. Astronomers have discovered strange signals coming from the centre of the Milky Way galaxy. Australian scientists, using the Australian Square Kilometre Array Pathfinder radio telescope, detected these signals 4 times over the span of 2 weeks. The transmissions, originating roughly 4,000 light-years away near the core of our galaxy, consist of irregular pulses and bursts that scientists have never seen before. During the early stages of planet formation, radio signals of similar frequencies are emitted. These new signals are more erratic than those emitted during planet creation, confusing scientists. Nothing about the signals follow a pattern that has been seen before. The intensity of the radio signal varies randomly. The orientation and rotational direction of the transmission is random and changes frequently, and the timing of the signals cannot be planned. Experts from the University of Sydney have shared they believe the signals are coming from a new type of star that we have never seen before. Ziteng Wang, a PhD student in the School of Physics at the University of Sydney, said the brightness of the object also varies dramatically by a factor of 100, and the signal switches on and off apparently at random. We've never seen anything like it. Due to the variability of the transmission, scientists first believed it could be from a supernova, solar flare, or pulsar. But the emissions received do not match with what is known about those phenomena. Still, scientists have no idea what caused the signals. Their hope is placed on a new radio telescope being built within the next decade. The telescope, called the Transcontinental Square Kilometre Array Radio Telescope, will hopefully solve this mystery. Professor Tara Murphy from the Sydney Institute for Astronomy and the School of Physics said, "We expect the power of this telescope will help us solve mysteries such as this latest discovery. But it will also open vast new swathes of the cosmos to exploration in the radio spectrum. From discoveries that help us understand the universe to discoveries that make us question what we already know, the vast expanse of space continues to make us wonder."
Granger Taylor was a Canadian mechanic and pilot who gained notoriety for his mysterious disappearance in 1980. He was an eccentric figure who had a fascination with space and aliens, and he had reportedly made numerous attempts to contact extraterrestrial beings. Taylor's disappearance was unusual in that he left behind a note that seemed to suggest he was voluntarily leaving Earth on an alien spaceship. The note, which was found in his workshop, reads as follows: "I have gone away to walk aboard an alien spaceship, as reoccurring dreams assured a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the vast universe, then return. I am leaving behind all my possessions to you, as I will no longer require the use of any. Please use the instructions in my will as a guide to help. Love, Granger." End quote. Taylor's family and friends were mystified by his disappearance, and the note only added to the confusion. Many people believed that he had been abducted by advanced beings, while others speculated that he had staged his own disappearance as part of an elaborate hoax. Taylor had always been an unusual character, and he had a long history of strange behavior. He was known for tinkering with machinery and building his own planes and cars, often using unorthodox methods. He also had a deep interest in the paranormal and was known to dabble in astrology, numerology, and other esoteric subjects. Despite the speculation surrounding his disappearance, no trace of Taylor was ever found, and his fate remains a mystery to this day. Some people believe that he may have simply walked off into the wilderness and perished, while others maintain that he was indeed taken aboard a spaceship. The case of Granger Taylor has become something of a legend, and it continues to fascinate people around the world. Some people see him as a tragic figure, driven to madness by his obsession with advanced life and the unknown, while others view him as a visionary who was simply ahead of his time. Initially, it seemed like a harmless and amusing endeavor. However, as he constructed a radio transceiver, allowing him to communicate with advanced beings, based on the recurring dreams he had about aliens and mysterious aircrafts, concerns surfaced regarding his mental well-being. On the night that he went missing, nearby residents claimed to have heard a loud bang, with some coming forward and saying that a bright light could be seen in the sky. This caused some to speculate whether Taylor had in fact been picked up by an advanced aircraft, and the bright lights that were witnessed belonged to the same craft, while others said that the loud bang could have been due to dynamite. According to Taylor's friend Keller, a severe storm occurred in Duncan on the night in question, which makes it plausible that the noise heard was thunder. According to Taylor's belief, Keller was informed that the advanced beings would possibly come during bad weather, as it could serve as cover while they traveled. Interestingly, Taylor's possession of dynamite at the time of his disappearance should not be considered relevant, as those who knew him said that he was an expert with dynamite, and said that he wouldn't have done anything to cause himself harm. Keller was involved in the construction of the spaceship that was built on Granger's farm. He firmly believes that his friend would not do anything that would cause harm, and describes him as an extremely intelligent, pragmatic, and wise individual. According to Keller, Taylor was the epitome of level-headedness. Keller and his family were among the last individuals to have seen Taylor alive. According to him, he would have noticed if Taylor had any unusual intentions, as he was a very intelligent person who lived his life normally. However, he believes that after being called a spaceman, he began to be seen as someone who was not level-headed. Regardless of what actually happened to Taylor, his story has become a powerful symbol of the human desire to explore and understand the unknown. It is a reminder that, despite our many technological advances and scientific discoveries, there are still mysteries in the world that elude us, and that the quest for knowledge and understanding is never truly over. The STS-61C NASA mission was the 24th Space Shuttle mission and the 7th flight of the Columbia Space Shuttle. Launched on January 12, 1986, the mission was a significant milestone in the history of the Space Shuttle program, as it marked the first time that a German astronaut, Reinhard Führer, had flown in space. The primary objective of the STS-61C mission was to deploy the SATCOM Ku-1 communications satellite, which was designed to provide improved communication capabilities for the United States military. The satellite was successfully deployed on the second day of the mission, and its systems were checked out by ground controllers before being put into service. Oddly enough, during the mission, one of the astronauts captured a strange object in space. Due to the shape of the object, it was given the name of the Black Triangle, and those who investigate the unknown reported that these aircrafts are commonly sighted all around the world. Black triangles have become a popular topic, and these mysterious objects are characterized by their triangular shape and black color, and they have been spotted in the skies around the world, as well as in space. One of the most intriguing aspects of the black triangles is their apparent ability to defy the laws of physics. Witnesses have reported seeing these objects hovering motionless in the sky, and then suddenly accelerating to incredible speeds and disappearing from sight. Others have reported seeing the objects flying in formation, or making sudden unpredictable turns and maneuvers. While the origin and nature of these objects is still unknown, there are a number of theories that have been proposed to explain their existence. Some suggest that they may be advanced military aircraft or drones, while others believe that they may be sent here by advanced civilizations, similar to what we have done in regards to sending probes to other planets in our solar system. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence supporting the advanced civilization theory is the sheer number of sightings of black triangles over the years. Witnesses from around the world have reported seeing these objects, often with strikingly similar descriptions and behavior patterns. This has led some to suggest that the objects may be part of a larger alien presence that is monitoring our planet. Another theory that has been proposed is that the black triangles may be related to secret government projects or experiments. Some researchers have pointed to the fact that the objects often appear in areas with high concentrations of military or government activity, and have suggested that they may be part of a classified program. Despite the many theories and speculations surrounding black triangles, the truth remains elusive. While some witnesses have captured images and video of these objects, their true nature and purpose remain unknown. However, the study of black triangles and other unidentified objects remains an important area of research for scientists and enthusiasts alike. By gathering and analyzing data on these objects, researchers can gain insights into the mysteries of our universe and the potential existence of extraterrestrial life. Regardless of their true nature and origin, black triangles continue to captivate and intrigue people around the world. Their enigmatic presence in our skies and in space serves as a reminder of the vastness and mystery of the universe and of the ongoing quest to understand and explore the unknown. Skeptics have said that this object isn't anything mysterious and that what we are looking at is just a piece of space debris, further noting that as of right now there is a significant amount of space debris in orbit around the Earth, and this debris poses a serious threat to both manned and unmanned spacecraft. According to estimates from the European Space Agency, there are currently around 34,000 pieces of debris larger than 10 centimeters in size in orbit around the Earth. This includes everything from defunct satellites and rocket stages to nuts and bolts from past missions. These larger pieces of debris can cause significant damage if they collide with a spacecraft, and they are a major concern for the safety of manned missions. Over the years, many astronauts have reported seeing unidentified objects during their missions in space. While some of these sightings can be easily explained as natural phenomena or man-made objects, others remain unexplained and continue to fuel speculation about the existence of advanced life. One of the most famous cases of a sighting by an astronaut occurred during the Apollo 11 mission, which landed the first humans on the Moon in 1969. While on their way to the Moon, the crew reported seeing a strange object that appeared to be following them. According to transcripts of their conversations with ground control, the object appeared to be moving in an erratic pattern and was visible for several minutes before disappearing from view. Other astronauts have also reported seeing strange objects in space. During the STS-48 space shuttle mission in 1991, the crew observed a series of objects moving in a coordinated manner in the distance. The objects appeared to be moving too quickly to be satellites or other man-made objects, and their sudden changes in direction and speed defied explanation. Other astronauts have also reported seeing strange objects or phenomena during their missions. Some have described seeing flashes of light or objects moving in the distance, while others have reported feeling a sense of unease or discomfort while in space. While some skeptics have dismissed these sightings as mere illusions or misidentifications of natural phenomena, others believe that they provide strong evidence for the existence of advanced life. Some have suggested that the strange objects seen by astronauts may be advanced spacecraft or probes sent by alien civilizations to observe or interact with humanity. Despite the many theories and speculations surrounding sightings in space, the truth remains elusive. While some sightings can be explained by natural phenomena or man-made objects, others remain unexplained and continue to fuel speculation and debate. Regardless of their true nature and origin, sightings by astronauts serve as a reminder of the vastness and mystery of the universe and of the ongoing quest to understand and explore the unknown. Whether or not these sightings are evidence of advanced life, they remind us of the importance of remaining open-minded and curious, and of continuing to explore the mysteries of our universe.
PSR B162026b is 12.5 billion years old. PSR B162026b is over 12,400 light-years away from Earth and is in the constellation Scorpius. It was discovered that this exoplanet has been around for a long time. It's one of the oldest exoplanets that scientists currently know of. It formed about 1 to 2 billion years after the Big Bang. Scientists have not found any traces of oxygen and carbon on the planet, suggesting it is uninhabitable. Because of its old age, it earned the nickname the Genesis Planet and Methuselah. Genesis describes the first book of the Bible, which details how Christians believe the world was created. Methuselah is named after the oldest living person in the Bible. This exoplanet is also the first planet to be found that is circumbinary, meaning it orbits 2 stars instead of 1. The stars are a pulsar and a white dwarf. Pulsars are round and compact with a large mass. They look like a group of stars from Earth, but they blink at regular and consistent rhythms, which is why scientists can use them to find large exoplanets. Pulsars are not like regular stars, but instead they emit two intense beams of light in either direction as they spin in a circle, like a lighthouse. White dwarfs are the remnants of stars like the Sun. At some point, the star runs out of energy and turns into a white dwarf or stellar corpse. An exoplanet is simply a planet that orbits other stars. Whereas all of the planets in our solar system rotate around the Sun, exoplanets instead orbit other stars. Exoplanets are hard to find because the stars they orbit emit bright lights, so the glare hides the exoplanet. Instead of sight, astronomers use different techniques to find these exoplanets. The Genesis planet was discovered using the pulsar timing method. The pulsar timing method tracks the electromagnetic radiation from the pulsar the planet circulates. As the planet circles the pulsar radiates electromagnetic radiation that can be identified on Earth. Astronomers record the consistent pulses to determine if there are small inconsistencies in the pulsar's cadence. These inconsistencies occur because an orbiting planet pushes the pulsar off its center. This technique helps scientists understand the system's orbit and the mass of the planets involved. Finding a planet as old as this one helps scientists understand more about the history of our universe. OGLE 2005 BLG 390LB is the coldest exoplanet discovered. OGLE 2005 BLG 390LB, or Hoth as some scientists call it, is around 21,500 light-years away from Earth, in the same constellation as PSR B162026b, the constellation of Scorpius. Located in the Milky Way galaxy, OGLE is not habitable, but its discovery may help scientists in their search for planets that are habitable. This is an exoplanet, which means it orbits a star. OGLE's star is a small red star near the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Its location isn't what makes this planet's discovery so interesting. Instead, it's its temperature. OGLE is about 220 degrees Celsius below zero, which is about 364 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. It's the coldest planet ever discovered. Its exterior is covered in rock and ice and has been compared to a similarly cold and more massive Pluto, while its atmosphere is relatively thin and comparable to Earth's. OGLE was discovered using a less popular technique called microlensing. Microlensing occurs when one dimmer star that is closer to the Earth passes in front of a brighter star that is further away from the Earth. As soon as the more dim, closer star moves in front of the bright star in our eye line, the bright light of the more distant star wraps around the closer star, and the light gets split into two parts around the dim star. The gravity around the closer star magnifies the brightness of the more distant star, just like a lens of a microscope. The increase in brightness lasts about a month, but we know that the star will look its brightest when the Earth, the dim star, and the brighter star are all in alignment. But how can this help astronomers find an exoplanet? If there is a planet orbiting around the closer, dimmer star, then the distant star will look even brighter for a short time as it aligns behind the dim star and its orbiting planet. So, scientists will see a short increase in brightness as they look at the data from the more distant star. Astronomers believe there are a lot more planets out there. Similar to OGLE, as scientist Daniel Kubas said, "The search for a second Earth is the driving force behind our research, and this discovery constitutes a major leap forward since it is the most Earth-like planet we know of so far." A source of far-flung neutrinos. Ghostly particles, extraterrestrial origins. These might sound like supernatural matters, but they are actually descriptors for an occurrence happening in outer space. A spiral galaxy labelled NGC 1068 has been referred to as an amusement park of sorts, sending out masses of particles in a process called neutrino production. These strange specks are ghostly neutrons that barely interact with the matter around them. Neutrinos are subatomic particles that have no charge, hence neutrons, and almost no mass. These particles only interact with two forces, gravity and weak force, which causes some types of radioactive decay. They travel at extremely high speeds and are abundant in the universe everywhere, and there is an estimate that says about 100 billion of these particles move through a person's body every second. But because they interact so weakly with matter, they're very hard to detect. Even so, they exist almost everywhere and can also be created anywhere, from out-of-decaying elements within the Earth to humongous supernova explosions. Scientists have sought an understanding of these neutrinos, and all the many ways these furtive particles are created. Scientists have found that many of these elusive neutrons with origins in the galaxy NGC 1068, also sometimes called the Squid Galaxy, are coming out of a hotspot in its center called Messier 77, which is anchored by a black hole. The galaxy is about 47 million light-years away from Earth and can be seen using binoculars or an average telescope. This region contains a very dense amount of gas and electromagnetic fields. A professor at the University of Wisconsin, Madison, and the study leader of this research, Francis Halsen, said that these characteristics are what makes this area a Disneyland for producing neutrinos. He also pointed out that there has been an increase in research revealing connections between similar active galactic cores and a large amount of neutron production. What makes these discoveries so motivating to scientists and researchers is that it not only reveals a source of neutron production, but it also begins to point at what may be the accelerator of cosmic rays and the sources of the neutrinos, said Halsen. TOI 674b. There is so much that lies beyond our solar system, waiting to be explored and discovered. At school, you may have memorized the 8 planets of our solar system and a notable mention to Pluto. It should not be surprising that planets exist outside of our solar system too. These are exoplanets, and some scientists believe investigating these should be the next step in understanding what is out there. Perhaps we will find one just like Earth, and if we do, will it support life? The main piece of equipment being used to conduct this research is TESS, the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite. TESS is operating under NASA's Explorer program and is the primary space telescope looking for exoplanets. TESS was launched 4 years ago and has smashed expectations, identifying 2,601 celestial objects that could be exoplanets. Once these are indicated, more research is taken to confirm planetary status, and so 122 exoplanets have been confirmed so far as a result of TESS. Of course, there are plenty of fascinating stories because of TESS, from the planets that could possibly be hosts to finding out what is hiding behind some of the brightest stars nearby. One exoplanet discovered in the January of 2021 by TESS is TOI 640b. Following the discovery, scientists used a variety of techniques, including spectroscopic and photometric observations, to confirm that this was indeed an exoplanet. The results described TOI 640b as a low-density super-Neptune planet transiting an M-dwarf star. Overall, what we know about the exoplanet so far is that it lies 1,115 light-years away from Earth, has an orbital period of just 5 days, and has been confirmed as one of the largest super-Neptune-class planets found to orbit an M-type star. Hopefully, as TESS continues to do more great research and uncover more and more, we will find more exoplanets that can tell us about what else is out there, from possible life to star types.
On Mars, a mysterious emblem has been spotted that appears to be etched into a stone. Recently, the Mars Opportunity rover captured a picture that displays an object resembling the form of a cross, reminiscent of a Celtic or Irish cross. Many ancient civilizations utilized the Celtic cross and Irish cross designs even before the advent of Christianity. There have been various interpretations surrounding the purpose of the circular ring that encircles the cross. These explanations range from its connection to sun worship and symbolic significance to its aesthetic function of creating a more confined shape for the cross. Many individuals who have examined NASA images extensively contend that they may offer evidence to support the existence of a former civilization. However, Some individuals remain unconvinced and argue that it appears to be a naturally occurring phenomenon. Over the years, there have been many reports of anomalous features and structures seen on the surface of Mars. While many of these anomalies can be explained by natural geological processes or human error, others have proven to be more difficult to explain and have fueled speculation about the possibility of ancient civilizations or even extraterrestrial life on the Red Planet. One of the most famous anomalies seen on Mars is the so-called face on Mars, which was first photographed by NASA's Viking 1 probe in 1976. Despite the debunking of many of these formations, there have been many other anomalies observed on the Red Planet that are more difficult to explain. For example, there have been many reports of strange, artificial-looking structures seen on the Martian surface, including pyramids, domes, and other geometric shapes. Some have even suggested that these structures could be evidence of an ancient Martian civilization or even a current civilization that is still living underground. Another anomalous feature seen on Mars is the so-called Mars rat, a small, rodent-like object that was photographed by NASA's Curiosity rover in 2015. While many scientists have argued that the rat is simply a rock that happens to resemble a small animal, others have suggested that it could be evidence of a small, surviving life form on the planet. Other anomalous features seen on Mars include strange lights and flashes, unusual clouds, and mysterious dust devils. While many of these phenomena can be explained by natural processes, others remain unexplained and have fueled speculation about the possibility of advanced life on the Red Planet. Despite the many anomalies seen on Mars, it is important to approach them with a critical eye and consider alternative explanations. While the idea of ancient civilizations or current life on Mars may seem exciting, it is important to remember that there is currently no direct evidence to support these claims, and that many of the anomalies seen on the planet can be explained by natural phenomena. Over the years, there have been many reports of unidentified objects seen in the skies above Mars. While some of these sightings may be explained by natural phenomena or human error, others have proven to be more difficult to explain and have fueled speculation about the possibility of advanced life. One of the most famous sightings on Mars occurred in 1959, when the Soviet Union's Mars 1 probe sent back images of what appeared to be a disc-shaped object hovering over the planet's surface. While some skeptics have argued that the object was simply a camera artifact or a trick of the light, others have suggested that it could have been a genuine unidentified object. Over the past few decades, scientists have made numerous breakthroughs in our understanding of Mars and have discovered a wealth of evidence that suggests the planet may have once been habitable. For example, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has detected large deposits of water ice just below the planet's surface, which could provide a vital resource for future human missions to the planet. Similarly, the Curiosity rover has detected organic molecules in Martian rocks, which could be a sign of past or present microbial life. As we continue to explore Mars and search for signs of life on other planets, it is important to maintain an open mind and approach the evidence with a critical eye. While the possibility of advanced life on Mars may seem tantalizing, it is important to remain cautious and skeptical and to consider alternative explanations for any unusual phenomena we observe. Ultimately, only through careful scientific investigation and collaboration can we hope to uncover the truth about mysterious aircrafts and other mysteries of the universe.
The vortices near Jupiter's North Pole. We have all seen the beautiful images captured by NASA of the other planets, and it's always astounding when a new, clearer image is revealed to the public. But what you might not have known is that these photographs are not just beautiful, they also serve to provide very important information about the planets, and this has never been truer as in the case of the new pictures of Jupiter, which have allowed for the discovery of vortices near the planet's North Pole. NASA recently captured a new photograph of the planet through its JunoCam instrument, showing vortices near the North Pole that look as though they have been painted by watercolor. However, this deceitfully calming and alluring image is actually a culmination of chaotic and tumultuous storms that frequent and indeed make up the planet of Jupiter. The storms are hurricanes with wind patterns that can reach speeds of up to 30 miles in height and are spread across hundreds of miles of gaseous plains. Furthermore, The colours that we see are edited to enhance what we can perceive of the planet's atmosphere and surface. The gorgeous images NASA provides are often slightly altered and coloured in order to show the depths and shapes of Jupiter's storms, which would otherwise not be as clear and evident. The new photograph was taken at about 15,600 miles above Jupiter's cloud tops. It was then digitally altered and enhanced by scientist Brian Swift for the purposes of revealing these Jovian storms and analysing them. So while there are some pictures of Jupiter that look blue and others that are more reddish, in reality the actual colour of the spirals seen in those pictures are actually dependent on their directions and chemistry. The colour palettes of these storms differ depending on whether they are moving clockwise or counterclockwise in the planet's northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere. Jupiter's Great Red Spot, for example, is a storm in the southern hemisphere that moves counterclockwise. Besides the fascinating colour schemes, scientists are interested in learning more about Jupiter's stormy weather and finding more information about Jovian clouds and the fluid dynamics in the planet's atmosphere. NASA's Parker Solar Probe has captured the first visible light images of Venus. One of the amazing things about how we view space is the fact that we can paint a picture of certain areas in any number of wavelengths that can each tell us something unique about the area which we are attempting to learn about. Capturing these observations outside of the spectrum of visible light means that sometimes it can be hard to see elements of space as they truly are, and to paint a picture that is representative of how they would look if they could be seen in person. Recently, researchers solved this dilemma with one element of space, the mysterious and cloudy Venus, whose thick atmospheric cover means that its surface is usually thoroughly shielded from view. But recent analysis has confirmed that images taken in 2 flybys of Venus by NASA's Parker Solar Probe captured some of the first visible light images of the night side of Venus using its wide field imager. The images were combined into a video that reveals how truly varied and interesting the elusive surface of Venus truly is. The images show a lightly glowing oxygenated atmosphere that sheds a soft light onto a surface riddled with what appears to be continental landmasses, complete with everything from plains to plateaus. Study of Venus is incredibly important to researchers, and analysis of these images stands to provide significant advances to scientists' understanding of this prominent planet occasionally referred to as Earth's twin. Because Venus is a major player in the search for extraterrestrial life forms, as well as the understanding of how the solar system formed, astronomers are deeply interested in the more detailed composition of the icy planet, as well as clues as to why Venus developed into a frigid wasteland while Earth became teeming with life. Brian Wood, with the Naval Research Laboratory and lead author of the study detailing these results, said, "Venus is the 3rd brightest thing in the sky, but until recently we have not had much information on what the surface looked like because our view of it is blocked by a thick atmosphere. Now, we finally are seeing the surface in visible wavelengths for the first time from space. What is even more exciting is that this discovery was entirely unexpected, as the wide-field imager had just been deployed to take photographs of the famously dense swirl of clouds atop the planet to measure the speed at which they moved. It was not thought that the technology would have the capabilities to see deeper into the planet. Thus, the photographs were a happy surprise for researchers, as the night side of the planet lined up perfectly with the camera lens of the spacecraft, so that the longest wavelengths of the visible light spectrum were able to penetrate the clouds. Hopefully, this information can be used to get to the bottom of the mysteries cloaking Venus. But what do you make of these recent discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.